Hello everyone, I hope you are well. Now today is the second part of the video showing the class that our good friend Min did at the recent summer camp. In the last clip we showed the stretching and hip opening exercises he did, and this clip we're showing the breakdown of the mechanics of a hook kick. He goes into a lot of detail, which is fantastic if you're from a non-kicking background, and he talks about how to adjust your body to keep stability, how to generate power, and really goes into a lot of fine details about posture and balance throughout the kick. He covers off both the front leg and the back leg stepping version, and if you watch right through to the end, he even does a spinning hook kick, which was it's quite funny for the mat full of absolute beginners. I hope you enjoy this, hope you find it useful. If you do, smash the like button, please consider subscribing, and have fun.
So the kick that I'd like to go through today, well, across the different martial arts, it has well, let's just say it has different names. So I'm just going to call it a hook kick, because that's sort of what it looks like. You're hooking your foot across the target, and I'll demonstrate. So I'll do a front leg demonstration of it. So up, there. Okay, that's the front leg. Back leg, you just bring it to the front. So hook kick. Now, I've seen there's many different ways of teaching it actually, which is interesting, because it just shows that people just naturally interpret it, interpret movement, interpret technique in a different way. The most basic way that I've seen it being taught, it's well, I'll demonstrate it. The most basic way is you get into your kicking chamber. They call this a kicking chamber. You straighten your leg and you swipe backwards or hook it back. All right, so you could say 4 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4 is down. To me, and that's a great start. To me, that's a very linear approach to teaching it. But for me, that kick, it's a lot more curvy linear. It's more like an arabesque. That's how I find it. And the only linear bit, really, for me, is just before the point of impact and just after. So for me, there's a lot more fluidity and curvy linear. I hope that makes sense. But what we'll do is we'll start off with the more linear, and then hopefully we'll develop into the more curvy linear approach. If we break it down, what I would like you to do, we'll start off with the front leg kick. Okay, so we're not going to be turning the body yet. Okay, the first thing you got to do is get into that chamber. But if you look at my whole body, you might notice that my foot does a lot of work to get me into that position, into that good position for the kicking chamber. So, for the camera's sake, there, for you, here. So basically my toes have gone from pointing there to pointing behind me. The other thing to note is when you're in that kicking chamber, basically your butt cheek should point towards where you're kicking. Okay? If it's pointing there, then you're going to be kicking that way. Or if you try and kick this way while it's pointing there, it's not going to go very well. It's not going to be strong enough. You'll be off balance. You might even hurt yourself. Okay? So the bum must point to where you want to kick. So this is step 1. Step 2, you just extend the leg. Step 3, just hook it across. All right, so those 3 things. So what we'll do is when you go into your pairs, you can have 10 goes at the kick, just as an example. You can do more if you wish. Make sure you do alternate, change partners. But the first thing that I want you to try and get comfortable with, or as comfortable as you can, is that getting into that position. Yeah, there. Okay, if you're comfortable with that, the rest will flow. Okay? So, in pairs, Henry, I'll just demonstrate with you. What you can do, that's all right, is first use your partner just for balance. Okay, so just hold on to their shoulder here, okay, so that you can do this with a bit more control. Okay, but once you get comfortable, then you got to try it without holding on to anything. So what you're going to be doing is, that's right, stay there. Is what I want you to do is just with your toes, you're just going to flick the jacket over your partner. Okay, so from here, there, flick. That was a bit. Flick. Thank you.
Do you want to do it one more time?
For the camera? Yeah. Okay, so there, here, straight, and down. The first thing is, as rightfully Duncan Sensei spoke to me about, was there's a lot going on in that bottom foot. So if you think about, you're starting off from standard fighting stance, your balance should be in the center. But as soon as you move a little bit, your weight will shift. And you know that with your with the Aikido principles. In order to be able to lift off that foot, you got to put weight on that foot. So you're going to put weight on that ball, on the ball of the foot, and then you can lift off it to move. Okay. We'll emphasize that again a bit later. The other thing is, with the hook kick, there are different parts of the foot that you can use to kick the target. What I demonstrated just before was basically using your toes, so it is just a brush, a flick. If you use your heel, right, so basically in that sense what you're doing is bringing your toes back, okay, so that you expose your heel and make it stronger. If you use your heel, then that's going to cause maximum damage, right? That's maximum impact. We're not going to practice that on each other. No. Now you can also, if you wish, go a little bit further up the leg to get more weight behind the kick so that the person kind of just topples over. That's another option. But what I find really useful with the hook kick is that it actually, your shin is protected. So with a roundhouse kick, if you mistime your kick or, I don't know, just hit the wrong target, so let's say someone's elbow, you can really hurt your shins, and then you're in trouble. You're in a lot of pain. But with the hook kick, you go from the other end, from the back end. Okay? So even if you might clash with a joint, an elbow, it's not going to hurt as much as your shins might. What I'd like to do next is to get you to feel a bit more what muscles you're using to bring the leg back, to flick it back. So, so just stand here, face that way. Yep, that's fine. Yeah. So you will have a partner that you can hold on to for balance. What we're going to do here is you're going to first practice using your back muscles here and your glutes. Okay, so what you're going to have to do here is start from this bent leg position, extend it out as you've been doing just before, and you're basically going to swing it straight behind you so that it's actually going further back. So not just there, but as far back as you can take it, where you feel almost a slight cramp in your muscle, and then you put it down. Okay, so up, straight, and do feel free to practice that bottom foot where when you straighten the leg, you put it in the right position there, and all the way around and down. All right, so now we're going to start bringing the leg from behind to the front. Okay, it's just one extra bit of movement, right? So instead of being here and there, okay, the leg comes from behind, and you got to bring it to the front. How do you do that? If we start with that front foot, which is going to be our ground foot, you got to open it up. If you don't open it up, then you're going to do something really awkward and potentially hurt yourself. Okay, so open it up, and from here it's a lot easier to come into this position. Yeah? If you think about the weight shift there, well, the first thing that's going to happen is there's going to be just a little bit of weight shift on your heel because you've got to lift your toes up. Okay, and then there's a transition to the toes. What I would like you to imagine is that there's a piece of string going through you, and it's stretchy. And this string is connected, starts from the toes, goes all the way up through the hip, and through the other hip, down the other leg, and down attached to the other toes. When you're moving, the aim here is to move in unison. Yes, different legs are doing different things, but they are moving together, so you've got to move in synchrony. Okay? If you put too much momentum forward, you're going to lose your balance. Be careful not to pull too much on that string, because it will take you off balance. So open up the foot, and switch that weight to the toes, and bring it here. All right, so that's that chamber. Open up, get into that position, extend, flick, and down. Okay, and again, open up the foot, transition to the toes, get into that chamber, up and through. Okay, similar to what we did before, except instead of keeping your leg straight through, what I want you to try and do is sort of draw a circle with your toes. Okay, so the circle's going to start here, and it's going to go as far as you can take it, and then back down. Okay, so a circle, like so. All right, so it's a big hip rotation, not really engaging these muscles here too much because the legs should be relaxed. Okay, but you're just painting the picture with your toes. Okay, so just try that 10 times, swap, and we'll move on from that. I do encourage you to, the exercises we've just been doing, to do it in general for yourselves. Not in the context of Aikido, just for yourselves, so that in the long term you have more mobility in your hips. Something I want to briefly explain is a lot of times when you execute a kick, your attention can end up being towards the kicking foot. But really, the core of the kick comes from the ground and moves up. So don't forget about your base, because if you forget about your base and your attention is too much about what's happening with the kicking foot, you can start to lose your balance, just lose overall control of the kick. Okay, so when you enter to execute the kick, always be mindful of that base and how it's connected to every other part of your body. So we're going to break out into doing some target kicks. Okay, so you can actually hit a target, which I'm sure you're probably looking forward to. So you get a better feel of what the kick should feel like. But again, don't focus too much on the target. Okay? Think about the ground and getting stability from that ground and transferring that through the body towards the target, but it's through the body. Okay, it's not just going to jump out at the target, it's going to transfer through your body. Alright, so let's demonstrate this on a kick. So you just come this way. I'll do it this way first so you can see, and then I'll change for the camera. Okay, so you're just going to hold it up like so. Okay, now, the height of the target. Target holder, you're going to have to adjust it. After everyone's had at least one go at kicking your target, you'll get a sense of how high you should hold your target. I don't think I need to elaborate on that. Okay? So, let's start off with that front foot. Okay, so what you're going to do is get to the target, comfortable distance, all right? You have to judge it where you stop, and then go for that front foot, kick it. Now, you have two choices. One is you just do a bit of a slap, so you kick more with the toes, right? Or if you want to kick with the heel, you need to be obviously a little bit closer, and it's, I'll try that again. So it's going to be a slightly different sound. Okay? Hitting with the heel, obviously aim for that middle of the target. That one's roughly the Adidas logo. Okay, just to see how that feels. Okay, again, don't think too much about the target. Think about your stance and getting that support through the ground coming through. Remember that analogy of the elastic string flowing through your body. Okay? So that you're not putting too much weight forward. You're balanced, you're centered, and then you've got better control over your kick. So over here, so if I go with the toes where I brush it more, there, if I go with the heel, yeah. Okay. Let's give it. What I've been seeing is actually really good. It's excellent. I mean, there's been a lot of repetition, and what we'll do, just for fun, to finish off, is the spinning hook kick. Now, why we're going to do that is because, well, it's not that different to what you've just been doing. There's just one minor thing at the beginning that you've got to do, which is turn, look over your shoulder. That's pretty much it. I don't want to overcomplicate it. We could go into the mechanics of it, but I think it's enough for one day. All I want us to try, and we will first try individually and then try it on the target, is this. Your front foot, so just with a spinning hook kick, it's the back foot that's going to kick. Okay, so just get that into your head. Therefore, the front foot, what you're going to do is just pivot on it. So again, put a little bit of pressure on the ball of the foot, turn that heel there. Okay? Now this kicking foot, a lot of people like to turn both feet. I sometimes find that if you do that, then you're a little bit off balance, and you may want to do that when you become more proficient with the kick. But for now, just turn that front foot, and this is slightly more balanced. Okay? Just turning the front foot. What that does also is when you turn and look over your shoulder, you're actually loading up this glute. You're loading it up, kind of like you're stretching a spring. Okay? It's loading up, and then when you lift off, it'll allow your leg to just come through. Okay? So it's the same kick. Okay? If I was to show it in a more linear way or more structured way, is once I turn that foot and look over my shoulder, here's my chamber. And that's the chamber we've been getting into all this time. Okay? So all we'll do is turn the front foot, look over your shoulder, and then just let the leg fly through. So okay. Your right foot is forward. Turn. Okay. Expose the heel. Okay. Look over your shoulder. All right. And let the leg come through. All right. Okay. Cool. Let's try again. Turn that heel, look over your shoulder, and let the leg come through. Okay. Now, doing it slower is actually more difficult, just so you know. But we're doing it slow just so you can follow. If you start to speed it up, so yeah, the leg will come through more easily. Yeah. Make sure you turn, and when you turn, you got to actually turn and look at the target. Okay, you don't want to be going blind. Right? So, again, turn the front foot, look over the shoulder, let the leg come through. Try not to go backwards like that. Okay, and also don't try to go forwards as well. Okay? If you have to lower the height of your leg, then do that instead of compensating for leaning with your upper body more so that you can lift your leg up. So get the leg at a comfortable height so that you can keep your body as upright as you can and have a smooth motion. Okay, so let's do 3 more, okay, with this leg. Turn the heel, over shoulder, and down. Okay. Turn the heel, look over the shoulder, and then through. Okay. Turn the heel, look over the shoulder, and through. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you for that. I really appreciate the effort that you put in. Yeah, look, kicks are challenging. Full stop. If it's something you don't practice every day, every time you approach it, it's really going to push your joints, your tendons to a new level. So thank you so much for giving it a good go, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again. Thanks.
Thank you.